What's up, boys and girls? It's me, Leafs, and we had maybe a crazy week 6 action in the NFL. We've had a game in which we should have had a shootout, turned out to be a blowout. Then we had 3 overtime games. 2 were decided by for a touchdown, and 1 was just a big play, some fiddle, and a Monday Night Football decision which turned out to be good, even if they didn't make it. So, without wasting any time, let's go over what happened on week 6. Starting off with the Ravens and the Chargers. Now, this game was supposed to be a shootout because Justin Herbert and his offense against Lamar Jackson and his offense turned out to be a Lamar Jackson offensive balance effort against the Chargers, which just didn't get on the right step. Now, both teams are coming off big games from Lamar and Herbert. Lamar threw for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards against the Colts. Herbert, meanwhile, threw for 398 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Browns. So now, in this game, it looked like we were going to see another shootout. And technically, it turned out to be a defensive effort for the Ravens. The Chargers only mustered 6 points, did not convert a single 4th down, as they were able to muster nothing. 195 yards for Herbert, but Lamar didn't do any well. Threw 2 picks, but the defense stepped up despite some mistakes. They didn't give up any big plays. So this is what Herbert's going to have to learn, and Brandon Staley, that some of these teams he face, he can beat them like they beat the Chiefs and, all the other teams he has beaten. But some games are not going to be easy. Like, if you can beat the Ravens, that's like a statement win. But they've already had a statement win against the Chiefs. So, with that said, Chargers can bounce back, but they have a bye. So, and then they play the Patriots, and no one is never going to think it's easy to beat the Patriots. Not when you have Bill Belichick as the coach. Now, for the Ravens, after losing to the Raiders, in which they had a lot of injuries, they're still looking like a team, even with injuries, they're still putting up a great performance. So, we'll see if it continues, but right now, the Ravens look like they're mimicking the 49ers, but they're not. The 49ers are having more ball problems than the Ravens. Alright, let's get to that. Now look at the 3 overtime games, and this one turned out to have teams that needed a win and teams that were in up and down scenarios. The first overtime game, Panthers and the Vikings. This game turned out to be maybe a statement win. Now, this wasn't a statement win because they're not high teams, but the Panthers have lost back-to-back games. And losing 3 straight after 3-0 would not look good. It looked like they were about to lose. They went to overtime, and the Vikings, they started the season 0-2, have brought out some pretty good wins against Seattle, the Lions, and now the Vikings. And they got a touchdown, not from Thielen, who had a great day, but a 3rd-string wide receiver, KJ Osborne. And now the Vikings are making some progress. The Panthers crashing back down, hopefully not what they had before. Another overtime game, this one, I didn't expect this to be a shootout. The Cowboys and the Patriots. The Cowboys have never beaten New England since 1987. The process was way back. And it looked like the Patriots were going to attempt it again. Despite Mac Jones doing a pick 6, they did throw a touchdown, but then this is when things went interesting. It was a 3rd and 25. They didn't know what the officiating was. It was supposed to be the 2nd or 3rd 25. But they got the conversion. They forced overtime. Patriots get the ball first. Unfortunately, they couldn't convert. And then Dak Prescott throws it to CeeDee Lamb for the game winner. And this was maybe the shocking thing. The Cowboys, after losing to the Bucks, have now brought 5 straight wins. Now they're 5-1. The Patriots, here's the shocking thing. They've never won a home game right now this season, which is pretty shocking. How in the world do the Patriots lose at home? Right now, this looks like a downward spiral in spite of Mac Jones' effort. But hey, look at the Cowboys right now. They got a date with the Vikings pretty soon. So the Vikings are coming off a win, so we'll see if they can keep this momentum up. And then the last overtime game, in which I do not want to mention this one, but I'm a fan of this team, so I will mention it. Seahawks and the Steelers. This was an unfair matchup, but it had to happen. No Russell Wilson for the Seahawks. First time since Week 17 of 2011. That was before Wilson was actually. That was before Wilson wasn't even on the team. He was not even drafted. This looked like the Seahawks were going to make another statement win. So this is what needed to happen. Seahawks started season 2 and started off 2-3. They have not started 2-4 since 2015. That was when they still made their playoffs. But this game, it looked like the Seahawks were going to get the win. But here's the big concern one. Neil Smith, despite his heroic efforts, played great. But in every starting QB position, there's going to be mistakes. And sometimes you can't swallow them. Here's what Geno Smith did. So Geno Smith, if you guys didn't know how they won, Geno Smith had the ball. And then as he was trying to make you scramble and get some yardage, T.J. Watt, the highest paid linebacker, makes the play, highest paid defensive player, makes the play and causes a strip fumble. Now, as you know, Geno Smith did not even see T.J. Watt, but what you saw from this game is that Geno Smith can be a quality backup, but in every QB, there's going to be a mistake. But even if Russell Wilson played, I wouldn't see any difference. They played their hearts out, despite the defense not doing that great. They did have a chance, but unfortunately, they did miss some key plays. And Jamal Adams, if you're hearing this, maybe next time don't say you're the best player unless you show us. Because if you had that pick, you would have basically gotten to field goal range, but he still has to show that Jamal Adams is a good safety. Because he basically hasn't performed like that 4-year, $70 million man. He needs to perform better, or else this contract might go into the Jets' favor. Alright, enough of overtime games. We've got one more left. It's the Titans versus the Bills. A rematch of the team that the Titans beat them to take off the undefeated Bills. And this one proved like it looked like a Bills win, predicted to be a total landslide. The Titans looked like Derrick Henry was going to be, stopped by this nice Bills defense. They couldn't stop him. In fact, they couldn't stop Henry at all. Had another 3-touchdown game, another 130 yards rushing on the ground, and again, torching every team that's possible except the Cards. Sorry, Cards. They're undefeated. We'll talk about that, but this looked like the Bills were going to win. Despite both teams with the second half performances, this was a crucial play. After Derrick Henry scored the game-winning touchdown, he had the game-leading touchdown. On a 3rd down and 7 play, if you guys didn't remember, they were in the red zone. If you guys were watching on NFL.com, you saw red zone. Here's what happened. It was a 3rd and 7 play. Allen looked like he wanted to change. He did not. So here's what needed to happen. He can either go for it and get the first down or get the touchdown, or B, kick the field goal and go into overtime. But here's what Sean really thought. Seeing how Derrick Henry did, if Tennessee got the ball in overtime, there's no way of stopping. And it's stopping. You don't know if you're going to get the ball or you're going to give them the ball first. This was a big decision. So he said he's going to go for it. And to be honest, people are going to think this is just a terrible decision. It wasn't actually terrible. Seeing how the defense couldn't stop Derrick Henry, if the Tennessee got the ball first, it was game over. If you were watching the Houston versus Tennessee game last year, you would see why. So, it wasn't a bad decision. It's just that you do not want to get a tie and then just lose the game. You just basically waste time. So Tennessee wins after pretty embarrassing games right now so far. They lost the Cards, lost the Jets, but right now, with Derrick Henry, there's no stopping this king. So now, after 6 weeks, it looks like we have this: the Cowboys, the Packers, the Cards, and the Buccaneers all are leading the division right now. The Cards are the only team undefeated, and the wildcard teams is a bit of a mix. Right now, the Rams could take that first wildcard spot, but we have so many other teams that are still in the mix. We don't know which team could have the chance. On the other side, the Bills fall to 4-2. That means the Ravens. Take over the first place spot, and down the Bills fall to second. So right now we got the Bills and the Ravens fighting for that spot. And remember that game, Ravens have more injuries on that roster than the Bills, but you see how they won 5 straight. You can never count them out. So week 6 goes in the books, and right now a lot of controversy. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, like and subscribe. And as usual, we'll see how next week goes. This is Sully signing off, and stay safe.